Get your fucking ass up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work these days.
Another club, plane, next place.
Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy?
I actually did it myself. Yeah. Nice.
I mean, let me ask the audience.
Hi.
What's up?
Back again.
Back again. That's a lyric, right?
Guess who's back again.
Is that Eminem?
Yes.
I love M&Ms. No. What's your favorite M&M flavor?
My favorite M&M flavor is
They're
think
all,
it's
like,
the sexy
attractive.
green one with the boots. That's my favorite M&M
I want to
flavor.
eat all of them out, so.
Okay.
Boots.
Well,
yes.
So it's been a second since we've recorded. It'll be like clockwork for you guys because
We haven't been together just in general. We haven't we've talked to each other on FaceTime, but we haven't been in the same room for like a month.
Yeah,
Which
it's
is crazy. Yeah. Wild even, one could say.
One might.
Yeah.
So we have a jam-packed episode today.
Lots to
talking
go
about,
over.
We were talking about Chappell Roan saying that. Hold on. Okay. We're talking about Chappell Roan talking about how she's too busy to be politically educated.
Sure. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a little bit about Drew and Enya. A little bit, not a whole lot, but if you've been following Chappell Roan, you've probably been following that whole debacle, which is interesting, ... question mark.
So yeah, we'll be getting into that and
Yeah.
be sharing our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make a little thing that we talked about it, but then we didn't talk about it. Of we're drinking.
We have it's empty, and I'm actually, before we get into it, I need to go pee, and then I'm gonna grab another one.
Do it.
So
You're gonna leave me alone with them?
you can talk. You have a voice. Use it, queen. I'm not here to silence women.
Let's see. What will we talk about? This will be funny to edit out. Welcome to my ASMR channel. Welcome to my ASMR channel. Welcome to my ASMR channel.
Okay, we're back.
Anyway, we're drinking alcohol
Yeah,
because we're consenting legal adults.
we are over the age of 21. Shocking, based on our looks. I know.
So you could drink along with us.
Yeah, I
Of,
mean, we can cut.
A drinking game. I guess we could just cut this in front.
Drink every time we say Chappell Roan.
Drink every time we say Chappell Roan. Drink every time we say Drew. Drink every time we say Enya. Drink. Oh, if you want to get up, drink every time that I say the word like.
Right. Drink every time I say right. Yeah.
So, yeah. This will go at the top of the episode. So strap in and enjoy yourselves.
Yeah.
And we're going to just be talking, gossiping, mad shit about people that exist online.
Join us. Cheers. Yeah.
As far as intros goes, how was your month?
My month has been, I wouldn't say it's been bad. It's been pretty. I mean, I got a car. Finally, I got a goddamn car. Yeah, that's been it's been one of those things that I'm I've been living without a car for the last year, over a year. Just fine. I haven't been missing it. I mean, I've been missing having a car, obviously, but I've been able to get around just fine. I live in a part of town that's close to everywhere I need to be. So I can just walk to school. I can walk to the grocery store. It's proven to be very easy to get around town without a car, and that's the great thing about being a student on campus is like everything's walkable. And I wish the entire country was like that, but sadly that's not the reality we live in. So anyway, yeah, so thank you to my grandfather who gifted this car.
Nepo baby.
No, literally Nepo baby.
Nepo baby.
And I'm gonna scream it from the rooftops because it's such a cute car too, in the sense that like it is very much like old lady vibes. But that's okay, I think. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, I love it.
Yeah, I'm just like, that's been probably the highlight. I got that a couple days ago. So I've just been kind of literally, I've been driving anywhere I have an excuse to drive. I've just been like, all right, let's go. Just because I haven't, like, I've been able to drive my sister's car and stuff, but even then I'm like, I have to wait for her to either not be at work or like she gets home really late. So like if I want to go to the store, I have to wait till like midnight to go to the store. And yeah, so that's been great. And what else has been going on? School just started for me, so I'm in spring term. And last term, oh my god, that was an insane 10 weeks of my life that I never ever 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 want to relive ever again. Yeah, I hate school. I hate it, and I love it at the same time, but I hate it, but I also love it and I like it and I hate it. So
Well, we're all proud of you
thank you
for going to class and doing the work.
Going to class
And doing the work.
and doing the I did all the work, but I did not go to class.
Valid.
So all my classes are online this term because I was like, I know myself and I cannot get myself up out of bed and like walk. I was just being like, I love being close to campus. I am not able to get myself up to go to class. So it's honestly been, I mean, it's like the end of week 1 as of filming today. So it's literally been 5 days of just logging in and just, like, doing a couple like online assignments, but
modules.
Like, it's just been kind of cute, kind of vibes. Going to the library, going to a coffee shop. Like I love being able to just like do whatever I want whenever I want. There's like no synchronous times to meet, meaning like I don't have to go on Zoom at a specific time and just like
That is so nice.
No, literally, it's literally just like, oh, it's like I like to compare it to, you can just kind of like, it's like if you're watching a bunch of like YouTube videos going down a rabbit hole at like 3:00 in the morning, but just like I'm getting credit for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
fun.
That's
so fun.
My past month. What about you? What you been up to?
Well, in March, I went and celebrated my friend Michaela's birthday. Shout out Michaela.
Shout out Michaela.
Shout out Michaela and Gavin.
And
so that was kind of end of March. I work a lot, so I've just really been working. And then last weekend I went on a spontaneous trip to LA.
Right.
For work, for just not for fun. I mean, it was a fun time.
Not for fun, she says.
It was a fine time. I enjoyed myself, but it was very busy. Had a 7:30 a.m. return flight from the Burbank airport. So that was a trip. The closest I've ever arrived at the airport to the departure time.
Like you guys were cutting it close. Yeah.
Boarding started at 6:50 a.m. We arrived, which is 3 adults, 2 young children, car seats that need to be checked, all this stuff.
I didn't even think about car seats.
Checked. We got to the airport at 6 a.m.
All right. Sure.
And so, yeah, I'm here to tell the tale. Like, it worked out.
Right.
Like, we just went through. And that to say, Burbank is a pretty small airport. So, it, like, just worked out. It was pretty busy. But we made it. And it was so stressful.
And you guys had pre-check, right?
They did. I don't.
Oh. Wait. So they were able to just like zoom through, but you had to like stay back in security?
Yes. Yeah. Well, like zoom through in the sense of like pre-check is just TSA, so it's like we like checked in together and like did all that stuff.
So they weren't cutting it close, but you were cutting it close.
Honestly, in that scenario, yeah, pre-check, they got through pre-check only like 5 or so minutes before I did.
Oh, okay. So
So it wasn't like they like sailed. It was like still pretty big. Like they.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it
It's
was.
just you just missed the flight. You just don't end up on the flight for a last minute trip that you didn't even ask to go on. That would have been
wild.
really camp.
But I
Yeah.
didn't. And to be stuck at Burbank of all places too, like not even LAX where it's like
Burbank.
Yeah. So
Wasn't that like the butt of the joke in every SpongeBob episode?
it was good.
Wow.
Good knowledge.
That's the only thing I know
where
about Burbank.
That's where Patchy lives. Is Burbank.
Right. Yeah.
But that to say, it's funny because I love flying. I actually do really enjoy like the
Me too.
airport and flying.
Oh my
Like
God.
I'm not crazy. Like this was like a 2-hour flight to like California from where we are. So it wasn't like I like flying like that. Like I like
Right.
no more than say like 4 or 5 hour flights. Like then it's like, okay, I understand. That's not as fun anymore. That's like a long haul. You're doing that for you're going somewhere.
Yeah.
But it really just made me like,
Could you imagine commuting? People literally like commute
no.
like daily,
I
like
can't.
flying like an hour and a half long
See,
back and forth every day, or maybe not every day.
So like, yeah, I couldn't do every day. I think it would be fun if that was like a weekly thing. But at the same time, that's just like a more transient lifestyle, meaning that like you would be essentially like living in 2 places, which like I wouldn't like that aspect.
Right.
But like the idea of like if I could just like have an hour-long flight once a week, like yeah, I think that'd be fun.
That's very like main character, like this movie kind of energy.
Like just being regulars at the hotel at the airport.
Yeah, the
Like
security just
cafes
knows
and
you.
stuff. Exactly. So that would be fun.
They still
but
yell at you though. was TSA mean?
I was literally telling Taylor, I hate TSA so much because it's like I understand and no, I don't understand. Let me preface and say I think TSA is freaking stupid and like I get that you need to be safe or whatever, but like
Right.
we're just so stupid.
Like, what are we
with it.
doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
On top of that, like now they're like trying to do the like, oh, juke you out and like, oh, different places do. So it's not universally take your shoes off. It's not universally take your electronics out. It's like different every place. And I can respect that they're doing that to like make sure people are paying it, whatever the frick that means.
Right.
I need those employees to have a little grace. Like, I'm not trying to sound like a Karen where it's like, I get that this is their job. And I'm not even asking them to be like nice about it. I'm asking you to not act fed up with me when I'm like clarifying or asking. That's what I'm at. I'm not saying I don't need like you to be nice and to be like outgoing. And
Just be neutral.
Like, I need you to not be condescending or fed up when I'm asked. Like, literally, I'm going through. So, like, yeah, that to say, PDX is the airport I'm used to. So, at PDX, you have to take the electronics out. You have to take your shoes off. That's pretty standard. That's just pretty substandard also. That's
Oh my God. Have you ever run into at PDX? Random. Because I have multiple times. Because he's worked TSA.
No, I don't believe that I have.
And I was literally like,
I can count the times I've flown on my hand in the last like 5 years.
Not to interrupt you, but like I would have forgotten if I didn't just like bring that up. Because I was like, oh.
That would be the most f***ed up place to like run into a Philomath person.
Right.
Like.
Right. Anyway, continue.
I was gonna say, so yeah, that to say, I like am aware of the fact that it's different in different places. It's like shoes are pretty universal, and I saw that other people were taking off their shoes, so I took off my shoes. So this is when we're flying out of Burbank to get back to Portland. I'm like I see other people taking out their shoes, but I don't see like the people around me. I didn't see them like taking stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is me. I'm gonna say this out loud, and I understand this is like overthinking, but it's like. I couldn't tell if they didn't have electronics in those backpacks or they just like didn't look like backpacks that had electronics in them. I don't.
Right.
So I know that was overthinking, but that to say, I'm literally standing there. I have my shoes off. I have my everything ready to go. and I just like have my backpack unzipped in my hand, and there's like the checker person right in front of me doing his job, just like making sure everyone's doing everything. And I was like, oh, do I need to take this out? And he looks at me and he's like, and like literally like I could hear his sigh. Like I was just like, sorry for existing. Like I'm sorry that I am not holding up the line. There's literally like I'm moving along as I'm like asking him this question. I'm like, I know there's nothing I'm doing that would be like, ugh, this bitch. Like I'm just asking. Like So that's my tale. I'm like, just please don't act fed up when I'm just existing.
Because what if it was a bomb?
And I would have. So that was my journey. I think I mentioned this, but it really like just going on that journey really made me like, I'm like, I need a vacation. I need an actual
You need a
one.
vacation from that vacation.
I need to get on a plane, sit on a beach somewhere for like 4 to 5 business days, and then come home.
Do you have your real ID yet?
No.
I had to get that the other day. Last week I went to the DMV because I was like, I'm going to forget. Like, and my biggest fear is going to the airport because you have to get it by like next month or something, or else like you can't fly.
Yeah.
And like I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get it out of the way now.
I guess I'm just in the boat now of I don't fly that often, and yeah, it's something that I'll just have to put aside time. Like if I make a trip, I'll just have to put aside time, and maybe this is it. I'm not saying it's not, because we're getting pretty close. We're getting pretty down to the wire here.
Yeah.
But this whole thing started in like 2011.
Yes. Like far before we ever even like had to worry about driving, period.
So I'm kind of in the boat of waiting until it happens.
Right.
Because like if I would have gotten it back when I got my ID, and back when I got my license, and they were telling us back then that it's like, oh, gonna be like 2019 or something.
Right. Because that's when it was supposed to be. Like literally it's been pushed back so many times that I was like, sure. But they're pretty serious about it.
No, but I was just gonna say that if I would have gotten it when they were pushing it the first time and telling me to do it the first time, I would have had to fucking renew my ID before it actually came into effect.
And it's funny you say that because I literally renewed my ID like last year, and like and it was going to expire like in 2030 or something.
Yeah.
So granted, I thought when I renewed it last year or 2 years ago or whatever I did it, I was gonna get a new picture. No, they used the same one because I did it online. I didn't go in, and they just reused all the same information and just like printed me the new ID.
What year did you do that?
20, like that I got the new ID.
Yeah.
2023 or something. Yeah, and they used my picture from 2014. So I look like an actual... The amount of times I've gone into a grocery store or like wherever they check an ID and they look at it, look at me, look at it, look at me again, and they're like...
That's wild that not some sort of... That wouldn't be some sort of like temporary one.
Right.
Like,
I was fully... Because I did it thinking I was going to get a new picture, and then being like... Great, I have to wait until 2030 to get a new picture. I'm going to be 32 years old still looking like I'm 16 in my fucking ID from...
That is insane.
So then I was like, okay, this gives me more incentive to get the real ID because like you have to get a new picture. You have to go in person and get your picture taken. So I was like, okay, this is great. I made it a point to like look decent or whatever. I was like, I need to just like, this needs to represent what I look like in today. And so I think the picture turned out okay. And it sucks that I literally felt like Victoria Beckham. I literally was like, do you know what I'm talking about? Where she's like at the DMV and she like is like modeling and stuff. And she's like getting her picture taken. She's like, can we do another one? My hair looks flat. And she's like, the DMV lady's like, no, this is the DMV, like you get one picture. And she's like going back to like look at the picture that was taken. Like I literally was like, I need to do that because I felt like I didn't like the picture that was taken, but like I couldn't have done anything about it. So
that's so valid.
Anyway,
yeah, no, valid. When it happens, then I'll get my real ID.
Yeah, and that reminds me I have to get a passport too. I don't have a passport. Yeah. I've never been out of the country. I've never had a reason to go out of the country.
Oh,
I grew up poor.
Now we're going to do a little media spotlight section that we want to
Yeah.
incorporate to the beginning intros of our episodes. So my little media spotlight, it's going to be like any movies we watch, TV show, music, just like any media.
Yeah.
And my take for this week is 24 Karat Magic by Bruno Mars. Like, I understand that it got overplayed in our time. I totally am aware of that. I too just kind of like overlooked it, and then it came up on shuffle. And I was like, wait a minute.
Right.
Wait a minute and listen. Everybody sit down and listen. So that's what I'm telling everyone to do, is sit down and listen.
Yeah.
Feel joy. Feel catharsis. It's also, the sun's coming out. It's the right time for it.
Right.
I know I've said this about the Bee Gees, the Beatles, One Direction, and Billy Joel. But Bruno Mars is also incapable of making a bad song. Like, discography.
No, actually, like, objectively,
skips, so.
he's kind of brilliant. He's, dare I say, our generation's Michael Jackson.
What did he say?
Dare you say?
Dare I say?
And I respect that.
Maybe not to the same degree, but in terms of just mind power.
No,
And
like,
potential.
in terms of power, I think there's a lot under the hood.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything for Media Spotlight?
I have a couple things. They're not super surprising, especially if you know who I am and you know my heart and you know my soul. First one is Mar and I have been watching, the only thing we've been watching has been Pokemon, the anime. And that is quite literally the only anime that I will ever watch in my
Like
life.
the kids' cartoon?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
nice.
I've been rewatching a lot of like old episodes, and there's been, so back in I think 2022, or 2023, they wrapped up like Ash and Pikachu's like storyline. So
Oh.
they're no longer like making episodes with them as the main characters. They started a new series called Pokemon Horizons, which I was really skeptical about because I was like, granted, I hadn't watched Pokemon in actual like a decade plus.
Oh, okay.
So it didn't really like matter that much to me, but still, as someone who was like, I was very invested as a kid, loved the show. I was like, okay, sure. Like, I'm sure this is going to be whatever. Like, this can't be that good. I was wrong. It's so good. And in retrospect, it makes so much sense because Ash and Pikachu have been around for literally 20 plus years now. So, like, how often can you recycle the same exact plot lines with just like different seasonings and spices? You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
Over and over again. So it's really refreshing and nice to see different characters, different Pokemon, different settings, a different region. And the villains actually feel like villains. Like, everything is just like so nuanced and beautiful and great. Highly recommend it. But we've also been watching Black and White, which came out in like 2010 or something, which has been a fun little throwback because that's kind of when I stopped watching and playing, was after Gen 4, which was Diamond and Pearl. And after Gen 4 was Gen 5, which is Black and White. So I'm kind of just like throwing myself back into where I naturally left off. So that's been fun. That's kind of the shows we've been watching. And then music wise, Ariana Grande released her deluxe of Eternal Sunshine, so I've been bumping that. It's really good. Really like that. And I think that's pretty much it.
Those were some good picks.
Yeah.
How can these girls tour, write, perform, interview, sleep, eat and work out, and like how can they do it all and lead a team and be a boss and pay people and like and be like so politically educated? It's
It's exhausting.
And it's also impossible. Also, why the are you looking to me for some political answer? You think I have the fucking answer?
But you're like, listen to my song, bitch. Turn it up.
Like, I'm a pop star. I wish I had the answers. I wish the president was a pop star. But she's not.
Good Lord.
Yeah, what are we doing?
So that just happened.
So she didn't do a thing. Yikes. Yeah.
And it's crazy. It took only like a year for her to fall from my graces. Where like
know.
that feels really quick. Like
Yeah.
pop girlies usually like you either sit on my radar of like I don't take any notice to you and not like actively ignore, but I'm just like not interested.
Yeah.
Or like yeah, so that's like more typical. Or like you go into my good graces and I'm like, oh, I think I like you, and then you stick around for a little bit and then I usually like forget about you, blah blah blah. Like I feel like it's rare that like I'm like, oh, I like you. Oh, actually, never mind. I revoke that. I
Right.
don't like you.
Right.
So yeah, that's it. Like, and it comes down to she's had a few like for me. I'm not saying these are like cancelable offenses or things that like she deserves to be raked over the coals for, but like things that have irked me personally in the last year that have happened. That's like kind of just culminates to this where I'm just like, okay, I think we're done here. Like I think I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely have to, and we were talking about this earlier, but just a big reevaluation of like why I like the artists that I like. Because I originally, when I first started listening to Chappell Roan, like I didn't really like her that much. I wasn't a huge like fan of the sound that she was exploring, and that wasn't a dig on her or anything. I just like wasn't into that, I guess, kind of music, that like kind of like 80s revival inspired kind of pop sound that she was kind of going for on Midwest Princess. And then I started getting into just her vibe and her personality, and like I kind of fell in love with that and just kind of everything that she stood for, which I think is very normal for people who look to celebrities with influence and more, I guess, like presence. That's why I was like, oh, okay, like I like her because she's quote unquote different than a lot of other celebrities whose music I do like. So because of those reasons, I started to actually get into her music more. And then yeah, like you were saying, like kind of over the last like year, like she's obviously had some, I'm gonna say controversies, because I wouldn't even say controversies, because there are things that I agree with and things that I'm like, okay, whatever, like we gotta just like grow up and like move on, like it's not that big of a deal. But you can't, I guess what I'll say is you can't deny that she has been talked about by a lot of different people for things that she has done or said or have acted like, whatever. But going on Call Her Daddy and just saying things, I will say her mom's comment, I don't give a fuck about that. Like, she kind of spilled tea, honestly, with that.
No, don't go there.
Like, I maybe, okay, let me rescind and say she didn't spill. But I will say that I don't disagree with at the core of what she was saying, of like the moms that she was referencing, they do kind of like, and I how do I put it? We both know who she's talking about. Like, we both went to school with people who are like that kind of quote unquote kind of mom, who are like definitely, and then a lot of people cut off that last part of the clip where they're like, they're miserable but they love their kids, so it's not even like a miserable thing, like. And so it's like, I definitely see what she was saying. Again, it's all about, like you've been saying, like the delivery is just so intense, and so like, girl, what are you saying, in the sense of like that.
I think it's just another thing to point at of like, she doesn't know what she's talking about, where yeah, there's some depth to what she's saying of motherhood is really hard. We zoom the conversation out of your personal experience of the moms being miserable. It is a very valid thing to do. Like, motherhood is looked at so sideways. There is such a valid conversation to be had around motherhood and its strifes. Making it sound like children and making it sound like motherhood is the miserable part is like not it, especially when you're talking out of your fucking ass and don't know what you're talking about.
And that's what she does, is she just talks out of her ass.
So like, even if I disagreed with her what she was saying and she was a mother, then I would have more respect for what she's saying. But she's not. She's a pop star whining about being famous, then also trying to act like motherhood is so hard and all the mothers I know are miserable and kids suck. And it's like, I don't take what you have to say for anything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's the core of it, is like, I take everything that she says has very little substance to it, because I really don't think she's that articulate of a person.
No.
And which is so tragic, because she could be if she like took the time and
but we're learning that she doesn't take any time to educate herself.
She absolutely doesn't.
That's what we're like, that's the next thing to talk about, is that like the verbiage that she used of like politically educated. Maybe that's a slip of the tongue, Freudian slip, where it's like being educated should be not that hard. Of like, if you can take 30 minutes, an hour out of, not even every single day, Chappell, like just take some time out of your week to just like read, watch the news.
Yeah.
You can be politically educated and be a busy person. So I think that's what like is egregious to then in the same breath, or like, I guess this like, but in the same breath be saying like, why are you looking at me for answers? Like, those are two completely different conversations.
Yeah.
And those are two completely different things. Like, being politically educated and not talking about politics are two different things. So like, yeah, it just comes down to her being like, wow, you expect me to be politically educated? And then it's like this like eyebrow raising moment of like, oh, the person that calls himself a drag queen and has talked about workers' rights and dressed as the fucking Statue of Liberty. Yeah, I kind of would think that you were at least like semi-politically literate in some aspect.
Yeah.
So like, to then sit there and be affronted that you're like politically educated, she didn't focus on the idea that like, oh, who, like, don't look to me for answers. She did say it. She did spout that same rhetoric that closeted Trumpies use to not want to veer the conversation away from them when they don't want to talk about politics. Is like, I can give her only so much benefit of the doubt at that point.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, okay, you're saying the same things that people that for most of the likelihood supports Trump. You're using the same words and things they say on Call Her Daddy.
Which is just, again, like,
outcome does not look good.
Going on Call Her Daddy should be an immediate red flag for anyone.
It's a dog whistle for sure.
Like, it just, again,
I don't even know if it's a dog whistle. I don't think it's that subtle. Like,
no, it just raises a bunch of eyebrows, for me at least, where I'm like, I don't know if, and so this is where my main argument of like, your two main identities of a giant super crazy pop star who's mega famous and queer, quote unquote, revolutionary queer drag queen, quote unquote drag queen, those two things cannot exist really truly at the same time. You cannot have those two things existing at the same time.
No.
You have to be one or the other. And this is my problem with a couple, like, just with, I guess, celebrity culture in general and like queer celebrity culture in general. And I don't know if I want to get into it at this time because we're talking about Chappell. But like, if you're queer and you like are just like in this mega capitalist mindset, like you kind of forfeit your queerness for that mega capitalist mindset. Like, again, you can't have it both ways. Like, the system in which you're trying to take advantage of sees you as a product and doesn't care about your queerness. It sees your queerness as a way to make money. It doesn't care that it's, you know, it's not seeing it as a revolutionary, like, middle finger to society, because that's what queerness is.
So true.
You know what I mean?
Definitely agree.
And that's what my biggest problem with Chappell is like, you, again, can't have your cake and eat it too.
No, that goes into something that I put down, is that like the unfortunate truth is that the uneducated / privileged majority of Americans do not care.
No,
They don't care.
they don't.
They are literally nodding along at her, say, like, on that podcast, being like, we shouldn't have to look at her. We shouldn't look to her for politics.
The amount of comments that I've seen like that, of especially her like fans, her like straight girl fans, who have said that same thing, and I'm like, you really don't get it. You just don't
They're
get it.
sitting there like, no, we should be able to leech off of the queer culture, but we shouldn't have to actually engage with it.
Exactly
No.
that is exactly what it's happening to.
So
Yeah, and
that
I just feel like all these like mega queer trailblazing people like Marsha P. Johnson. Like, what would Marsha P. Johnson think about you, Chappell Roan, in this moment? You know what I mean?
disgusting.
What would Divine think about you? What would, you know, like, all these people that like
No, literally
paved the way, like,
and it's just like making me want to take a second look at the drag queens that like gave her blessing, because I know that was like a whole thing of like, oh, she calls herself a drag queen because like drag queens started calling her a drag queen. It's like, who are they? Like, what was that story of,
right.
like,
yeah.
But that to say, I'll just go into, you were kind of like getting on this, where this is a convoluted metaphor that I tried to come up with. It's like if a store said, we sell X, Y, and Z. And so you start shopping there for Y. You're like, I need Y. And you should window shop for X and Z, but you're like, I'm here to purchase Y.
Sure.
And then one day you go there and there's no Y. There's a space for Y, but there's
It's all
just
sold out.
There's just no Y. And you ask somebody and you're like, where's Y? And the employee's like, oh, no. This is the XYZ store. It's like, okay, but then there's still no Y. And then so there's still no Y. It's just the X and the Z store, but it's still pretending to have the thing that you wanted, the thing that you started coming to the store for. So my worry is that since Chappell is only dropping the Y, activism and actually doing good in the culture that she is participating in,
Yeah.
and not the X or the Z, being that she's a pop girly that makes at least decent music. Say whatever you want about her music, it's just like catchy.
Yeah. Pop music.
That there's going to be no change. That like she's only dropping a part that only a few, like only the marginalized people cared about.
Yeah.
So like she got popular doing that stuff and leeching off of that, and those marginalized people being gay people, black women, like
Yeah.
I'm not even saying black women specifically love Chappell. I'm just saying like those communities that she would immerse herself in are the things that make you popular, are like the make or break of society, are the trendsetters, are the people that if they like something, then it's going to be popular. So yeah, it just really burns to watch an artist get up there using that kind of community, like, because I keep using culture where it's like it is culture, but like, yeah, using that niche community where it's like those, that's what also burns, is that like she is just a white girl from the Midwest, that like, why did she get to be famous when there's so many people in that culture and in that community
that like
real drag queens that deserve to play at Coachella, real drag queens that deserve to be winning Grammys and stuff. Like, that's just what burns. Of then you're like, But like if a actual drag queen was on Call Her Daddy, first of all, a real drag queen wouldn't go on Call Her Daddy.
Right.
Second of all, like
Right.
they would use it to make it mean something. They wouldn't just tout the same rhetoric that Call Her Daddy touts. Like,
Yeah, right. Exactly. Just to promote Chappell Roan, the brand, which is exactly what she was doing, which is just like, okay, I definitely see like that whole entire podcast. Disclaimer, didn't watch the whole episode. Don't want to watch the episode. I got what I needed to see.
I've never watched an episode of Call Her Daddy.
And will never watch.
Chappell Roan will not be the reason that I do.
Exactly. But it's very much like, okay, yeah, we can just tell that she went on there because her management team was like, you got to go on because this is going to be good for your image. This is going to be good for your brand. This is going to be good for Chappell Roan. And if you had even if you had the smallest little bit of dignity as like a queer person with these revolutionary like if that were me, I'd be like, hell the no, I'm not going on there. I'm not. Put me on something that like I actually want to go on.
Alex Cooper, I would not be within a 10-foot radius of you.
Sorry,
ever.
Not
by
sorry.
choice.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. No. So
yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on Chappell. I know, like, that's the thing is, like, I also specifically wanted to talk about this because I know we've talked about her on the we were like talking about her during the Grammys, and it's like I want it to be on the record that I no longer with Chappell Roan.
and this goes into like my whole I was saying this earlier, like pre-recording, of just I can't say that I'm going to be a fan of hers. Like I will probably still listen to her music in passing, but I'm not going to be like, I think you're iconic, you're such a cool person. Like I'm not going to say those things anymore. I'm just going to be like, let you do your thing. It's kind of just the Brittany Broski effect of like same again, like I used to fuck with Brittany Broski heavy, and then she like said all those like crazy weird things about Palestine and how like, why do I have to be the one to talk about the Middle East? Like, girl, come on.
That's all I hear when Brittany Broski.
It's the same thing, and it's like, okay, I'm just gonna take a bunch of steps back, and I'm not going to invest any of my like screen time in with you anymore. Like I'll see like a reel or a TikTok, and I'll be like, I'll chuckle, and I'll be like, haha, you're still kind of funny, but I'm not gonna be like, I heavily fuck with you like I used to. I'm not gonna follow you on YouTube and like watch your every single video that comes out like you're Jenna Marbles, because you're not.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we've talked about this, I don't think on the pod, but like Sarah definitely got me. Like that's the whole breakup happened before her making those sideways comments, but it was from the moment that they like kind of go like their friendship dissolved very behind the scenes, very hush hush.
Makes sense.
I was like, at that moment I was like, I have a feeling it's because Britney's not good. Like that, for no reason. Like that was before Britney had any infractions. I was like, when I still liked Britney, but like, there's just something about Sarah that I'm like, I don't think Sarah would drop a friend. Again, this is going into parasocial, but this is me saying it where like, I like to think like, I don't give a Sarah Shower could come out tomorrow being up, and it's like, okay, I'm not sitting here being like, oh, Sarah Shower's the gospel,
right,
but where it stands, I'm like, I respect her word. Like I'm not using her word as gospel, I'm not looking at her for guidance, but like I respect what she has to say, and I tune into when she's talking. But all that to say, so like just regarding her, when that fallout with Britney happened, I was just like, I had that little itching in the back of my head that's just like, I have a feeling it's because Britney's sideways. Not even like because Britney, but like I have a feeling they're no longer friends, it seems, because Britney's not to be fucked with. So
and like,
and then Britney showed that she's not to be fucked with like not long after that.
And this got me thinking of like you move to LA and 9 times out of 10 this just happens. Like this, the ego goes to your head, and like why can't you just like be a cool content creator and just like hang out where you used to hang out? Like, I just don't understand why. Like, I don't know. It just kind of, I'm just like, ugh. It's just kind of icky seeing that, like, you know.
Brother,
What's that?
So anyway, that kind of gets into the Drew and Enya conversation too. Just celebrity culture in general. I'm just like, I've definitely had to rethink over the last like year, especially in the last like week.
Yeah.
Can we?
Malala.
Malala.
See, actually, no, Malala low-key never fell off. Like, Malala is always that girl. Greta, you fell off because seriously, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, we, like, don't, like, what?
No, I support everything. Don't get me wrong.
No, I do, but, like, you know what I mean. Like,
I don't.
she literally was in school. She learned about Malala. She was like, wait, there's a method to the madness. I really fuck with sustainability. Let me just see if this will get me out of class.
Yeah.
And it works.
Skipping class by Netspin.
Can we just stop? Can we just cut it out?
No, like seriously. And yeah. Can I say that I'm surprised? Absolutely not, because this is Drew and Enya we're talking about. So their podcast is quite literally based on shock value and whatever, blah, 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 which is like, now that I'm like saying all of that out loud, I'm like, that's honestly kind of annoying. Just shock value anything is just like, girl, grow the fuck up. You are literally like mid to late 20s. Like, you need to get a life. Like, get a life job, get a life challenge. Like, I actually, like, it's so annoying, especially you are not in your teens anymore. You're not making vines like you were back in high school. Like, this is not 2014. Like, you need to get a life. Like, it's not that hard. Like, I just don't understand. Even if it wasn't these like crazy insensitive jokes that I'm seeing a lot of people like online and in the comments being like, people need to like get over it. Like, it's like really not that big of a deal. And it's like, whatever, maybe it's not that big of a deal, but like still it's annoying. If it's not that big of a deal, it can still be annoying, and like it can still be like just, again, grow up challenge,
No,
level
literally.
impossible,
No,
level Drew and
literally.
Enya impossible. Like, and this is coming from someone who like can see that they could, if they were to hear me say that, they would probably agree at their core, you know what I mean? But it's still just like we were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
And I was gonna say, no, like watching this clip, you can definitely see that, like, to his credit, Drew like is cringing and definitely a little bit like, ooh. But that doesn't stop the like lack of critical thought to edit it out, not shut it down. We're like, yeah, I saw a comment that was like, well, Drew just needs to get better at shutting Enya up. It's like, first of all, that shouldn't be his job when it's two grown adults.
They're
like,
grown
that's
ass adults. They are adults.
It's like not really like a valid thing to say of like,
Right.
and they weren't like blaming Drew, but it was just like, oh, he should have shut it down. It's like, that's not his job. But like,
Yeah.
also, so yeah, kind of articulating this poorly, where it's like, I agree in the sense of if he truly disagreed or didn't want her to say something like that, sure. But then it's like the fact that he didn't care and was only like, I don't know, is like, then obviously he doesn't really give a fuck or really understood what she, like, I guess that's a better way to say it, is like, you could tell he knew what she was saying probably wasn't the best, but didn't understand why or care enough to stop it. Like,
right.
where it's like, no, you should have. So like, that's where I agree. It's like, okay, if you thought that, you should have stopped her, but like, I don't think you really caught how fucked up, I don't even say fucked up, because yeah, it's not even like the worst, like, it's not that bad, it's not that crazy. It just shows a dire lack of critical thought, let alone a lack of, I almost said cultural awareness, like just worldly awareness
Just
of just like
intelligence.
what's going on around you in the world.
Yeah.
Like,
Because I know they're both smart. I know they're both intelligent people, but like, this whole, like, again, I'm just going back to the whole, like, shock value for content for comedy thing is just, like, so dumb and old and played out. And, like, even if it was, like, completely satirical and completely a joke, like, it just makes no sense for them to throw two incredibly smart and
to
politically
pit two queens against each other.
No, literally to throw two like amazing human beings under the bus like that for no reason other than the fact that they just wanted a soundbite.
No, literally, I saw a comment that was like, it gets into, I'll say that because, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off because
please.
They have apologized.
Yeah.
So in their apology, just to go off of what you were saying, that I saw a comment that was like, girl, why are you apologizing to us? Apologize to Greta and Malala.
No,
like,
literally.
But also, so then, like, going to, like, the apology was weird. Like, the apology was two kids that have been on the internet and have been around, like, I'm not well versed in their history, so I'm not saying from them specifically, but have seen a Notes app apology in their time like that. It was just, like, hitting the points. And again, so I'm speaking from, like, we talk about them a little bit. I know who Drew and Enya are, but I have never listened to a single episode of Emergency Intercom. I've, like, seen clips on TikTok and I've, like, seen of them. But so all that to say is that, like, it was a jarring, like, tone from them. Like, it just felt so disingenuous because it was, like, not Drew or Enya's, like, vibe or tone. It really was, like, whimpering puppy tail between your legs.
Yeah.
That is like, oh.
Because that's, like, the first time they've, I feel like, ever had to do something like that.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they've both said some pretty racist shit in the past. So it's like it's just crazy to think like this is what your Notes app apologizing for and not like, and I've seen a lot of people being like, all right, this is cool, but like, where's the apology for the racist stuff? And people are like, they apologized for that 6 years ago, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, well, that doesn't that this isn't my conversation necessarily to partake in, but as someone who just observes it from the outside lines, I saw a really good TikTok a long time ago about the whole Brooke Schofield thing, like when she was saying all those racist things on Twitter. It's like, you can apologize until you're blue. I can't remember the exact creator, but she was being like, I was bullied relentlessly for being black and being like this way for my entire life, and like my bullies have apologized and whatever, but like, you can apologize till you're blue in the face. That absolutely does not change the mental rewiring that does to your brain when you're a kid. Like, if you're, especially if,
absolutely,
because Drew and Enya were saying all those things, again, I can't cite those specific things in detail, but they were saying those things when they were kids to other children on Vine at the time. So it's like, if you're a kid seeing that from people that you think are funny, how do you expect that that's gonna like stick with them for a while? You know what I mean? So it's like, apologies are a good starting point, but that doesn't negate the fact that has altered someone's like life experience, especially on the internet. Like, so yeah,
no, it was weird. And then like, some line about how like this was my summary of their apology. We saw what you guys said. Sorry for saying it. Greta for Palestine. We are figuring out how to be empathetic people while still making a podcast rooted in comedy.
That's exactly what it was.
Like, that is essentially what it said. Where it kind of was like, here's what happened. We get that it's bad. Sorry we did it. Or I guess that to say is like, it felt more like an apology of like, sorry for how it made you feel versus sorry for, like, I think she did say sorry for saying it or whatever, but like, it felt like, sorry you guys took it so seriously.
Yeah.
Like, it was
right.
I mean, that's me kind of talking out my ass because like I said, but it felt like that because it was too polished. It was too pristine of like an apology that it was just like, I don't think this is how you guys genuinely feel. I feel like you would have come at you would have come at this conversation a little more real, let alone fucking just do it. Like, that's the other part that makes it come off so disingenuous, is the idea that, like, they only put it up because they're like, the clock was ticking for them to put out next week's episode. Right. And they put it out. Like, I'm unaware of their schedule, but it's just
it's
like,
out.
Like,
It's out today. I checked.
Exactly.
Yeah. Didn't listen to it, but it's out.
So, like, it really was, like, let alone it was that down to the wire where it's just like, okay, this is so obvious. Like, do you not realize how obvious it is, let alone then how much do you want to bet that was written by AI?
It was certainly influenced, probably. And
So-
Drew loves ChatGPT. So he literally, like, talks to ChatGPT for, like, therapy sometimes. So that's his words, not mine. He was down bad, so bad once that he, like, literally talked to ChatGPT. So
Cricket sounds.
right.
That's so messed up.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
I didn't have much to say about Drew and Enya. Just that it's weird.
It's
and messed
weird,
up.
and I think my biggest thing is, like, in this day and age where anyone can, I mean, you guys have seen it, anyone can pick up 2 fucking microphones and start recording and saying whatever the fuck they want. The only difference is, as of time of recording, we have like 30 followers on YouTube or whatever, and like even less on our platforms, which, I mean, we're still going to say, I would hope, good things. Like, we still are relatively informed, like, but they have like millions of followers, and like the argument of like, oh, it's just a podcast, like, they're just dumb kids, like, blah 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 blah. A, they're not kids, they're full grown adults pushing 30.
Adults.
And B, when you have millions of followers, you cannot deny that holds a solid amount of influence on whatever niche culture that they are finding themselves curating, if that makes sense. Like, a lot of people look to them, and a lot of people will be influenced by them. So I think it's just such a disingenuous argument to be like, oh, it's just a podcast, like, people need to, like, stop taking it so seriously. No, people need to take it, like, more seriously, I think, because it's in this day and age in social media, when you have that much influence, exactly what I just said, that holds influence in culture, whether that be broad culture or niche culture. So
true.
That's just my biggest issue, is like, if you have that much of a following, you are going to persuade people to think certain ways, whether that be directly or indirectly or both. And I hate the whole, like, oh, it's just a silly podcast, like, they're just stupid, like, don't take it so seriously, like, people need to gain critical thinking skills. Like, okay, cool, like, you might have critical thinking skills, but like the other hundreds of thousands of people that listen to them might not, and you can't control that. So, you know what I mean?
No, exactly.
And same thing applies to Chappell Roan. Like, her fans will look at what she's saying, and like, you can make the argument of like, yeah, just like use your brain and just like think about it yourself. Okay, cool, that's me, but I can't think for the other person that
No, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Ingesting the content. Yeah.
So yeah, like, you can't deny that, especially in 2025, people have a crazy amount of different influence in the social media climate that we all inhabit. It's not the 2000s anymore. It's not the 90s anymore. It's not even the 2010s anymore. Social media operates at a level that is so far out of what we've been used to in terms of celebrity culture. And social media celebrities operate at such a different frequency and level that we have not seen before. And that's okay. We just have to recognize it. And,
unprecedented. Yeah.
And that's why these apologies are just so like, ugh, and icky, where it's like, girl, like, you should have realized that you hold this influence before you said that dumb shit.
Get it, Jay.
That's just kind of what I feel about that. So,
and I agree.
Yeah. Anyway.
Period.
We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
Well, I think that's about all that we have. We'll do a little outro moment. We're going to hopefully, as you noticed in the beginning, after our little intro, after our little disclaimer, we're going to hopefully get into a little bit better of a, not routine, but
routine, like set thing, like itinerary.
Yeah, better. We're gonna try and get better at sticking to like an itinerary of like an intro, talking about what we want to talk about, an outro. So for our outro, we're gonna start doing a little closing question, which is like we'll talk about it, but then we want you to answer in the comments.
Right.
And then the next week we'll give a little shout out to either our favorite answer, an answer that is thought provoking, some answer in the comments.
Yeah.
So the question this week is, would you rather be able to hear any conversation happening within 50 feet or the ability to take back whatever sentence you just said? What do you think?
I would, my immediate answer, gut reaction is be able to hear any conversation within 50 feet.
That's mine as well.
I'm just such a nosy motherfucker.
I would want to, I've always, and maybe harken back to Twilight, I have always wanted to be able to read minds. Like,
yes, same.
I don't know.
What are you thinking? What's going on in that little brain of yours?
So,
you know,
I will say the ability to take back what I just said is like, I definitely thought about it for a sec, because like the ability to take it back means you could just like say whatever and just like test it. You could become a different person and like have a different personality of just like kind of toss the net.
Because I took that as like you might be in a heated argument with something and you might say something that maybe needs to be said, but you might have phrased it in a way that might have come off a little bit rude. But then I was like, I could then be like, I'm sorry, let me rephrase it this way.
That's true.
Because what I say, I typically say what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And if it
That's
comes
how
off,
I feel too.
if it comes off wrong, then let me apologize and let me rephrase it, because that's not what I meant. But at the core of what I'm trying to say, that is what I meant.
See, that's how I feel too.
You know?
But it was hard for me to choose because, like I said, it made me think of the idea of being able to just like walk up to a stranger and be like, "Oh,
you're ugly
just...
as
Like,
right? Right? That's what you were gonna say, right? Right? Yeah.
I'm hooked. No.
Oh.
I was personally gonna say you could walk up to a stranger and be like, oh, like, I mean, I'm not single, but so I'm thinking of like the hypothetical in this made up fantasy. If I was single, you could like walk up to somebody and be like, oh,
What's your number?
You could say anything you want, and then it's just like, oh, if it,
you know what?
oh, I'm married. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, I'm gay. It's like, oh, okay, you can like clean slate it no matter what.
That's true.
Or even like if you're at a restaurant and you're like, oh, can I have something off menu? And they're like, no. It's like, like
that Adam Sandler movie, like
click.
Yeah. Yeah, but that in real life.
So that's what I was thinking, where like, no, I feel similarly where I didn't even really think of like argument wise, where it's like I like to feel what I mean, or I like to think that I say what I mean and mean what I say, but I'm also aware that like sometimes like I just say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I feel like it's easier, like just with the relationships that I have in my life, like there's no one in my life that I would feel like I say the wrong thing and then it's like irrevocable. I'd be like, okay, sorry, like let me rephrase, like, yeah. So that doesn't feel like as pressing of a need. It would just be like fun.
Right.
Whereas how much use I would get out of being able to hear other people's conversations.
Exactly.
Like 50 feet, like I could hear across the street.
That
like,
would be, I would get so much tea.
Yeah.
So much tea. Yeah, right.
So yeah, that's, I mean, yeah, pretty cut and dry answer for that one. Some of them that I have on this list are a little bit more like nebulous, but the second part of our outro will be our manifestation for the week ahead.
Oh, okay.
So the thing that we're either looking forward to, thing that we want to happen, thing that needs to happen, something that's going to happen in our week that we can report back on. And so I have something locked and loaded if you want to think of my manifestation for next week is I need to get some communication done. Meaning that I have several people in my life that I need to either reply back to or reach out to or make plans with that are sitting in my docket, all whom I love very dearly. None of whom I think are watching this because it's all like family members and stuff.
Right.
One is Rocio. Rocio, if you're listening to this or watching this, shout out Rocio.
Hey.
And yes, I know I need to text you back. But yeah, that's just what I want to get done. I'm terrible at texting. I'm kind of just like terrible at like communicating in general. But so I'm manifesting that to get done and for some good talking and communicating to be done.
I love that. I would say for me, my manifestation is I have a very long doctor's appointment on Tuesday.
Ooh.
Yeah. So my manifestation with that is that everything goes fine, that nothing crazy is happening in my body. Yeah, I just have so much health anxiety specifically when it comes to my heart. So I'm just like hoping, and this is like a cardiologist appointment. So I'm like hoping, and I have no reason to believe that anything's going to be bad. So my manifestation, it's pretty specific, but it's just, I need to go up there. It's going to be good. They're going to tell me that
all good vibes.
They're going to tell me that I'm in the best shape of my life.
Work.
Cause I genuinely feel that I'm in the best shape of my life. So, yeah, that's kind of.
I feel that. That's a good one. That's a good one. So yeah.
Oh, I'm also manifesting I'm getting at least $30 off my haircut tomorrow and my hair coloring tomorrow because that's a whole saga that we can get into next week. But
we'll get into it next week when you have the new hair. So.
When I have the new hair that I was supposed to have today.
So stay tuned. Stay tuned for the tea because we'll spill.
That was kind of crazy.
I have my own hair tea to spill too.
Oh my
so
God. Next episode is hair tea.
Next episode we'll both have slightly different hair.
You'll have slightly different hair. I will have. Well, you'll see.
So exactly. I was trying to leave it a little bit of mystery.
And I just did.
So, but anyway. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. Like and subscribe. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Cheers.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe and turn on that bell notification.
Is that even a thing anymore?
I see other YouTubers say it. So
share the video. Put us on your Facebook wall, even if you don't use Facebook anymore.
Check into that sidebar.
You don't know how much it means to us.
In that, you remember the sidebar?
Anyway, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty settled. I think this is a pretty good 7th episode.
That's crazy.
Holy cow.
Actually crazy.
Thanks for sticking along if you're still here, and we hope that you're enjoying your time in the yard, in the Yapyard. And don't forget to send us video topics in our Google Forms or just the comments. If there's a comment that you want to leave and you don't want to go to the Google Form, we also take them from the comments.
Please, anytime.
We haven't gotten one yet,
love reading
but we
them.
will.
We've gotten...
we will take them from the comments if
please,
we get one.
Please comment on our videos.
But yeah. So I think I said this last week too, but one day we'll have one day we'll figure out something to say before it just cuts to the outro music, but it's still not that day
yet.
Not yet. So
all right.
bye.
Goodbye.